Thank you all for joining me today. And I know everyone's busy, but I really, first of all, I thank all my viewers and subscribers. I don't get a chance to talk to my viewers and subscribers, especially live, very often. So I really appreciate your support of my channel. It's really fun for me, and everyone that comments on my channel, they're always so polite, even when I make mistakes. So I'm really thrilled about that. So today I'm reviewing the Fontodi 2016 Flaccianello Della Pieve. So this wine was voted on by my viewers and subscribers. And this is the wine that people chose. It wasn't even close. So, and the interesting thing is a lot of people, I think, thought that this wine was a little bit too young to drink. It probably is a little young. I can just give you a sneak peek of this because I have opened this wine about an hour and a half ago. It was pretty tight when I first opened it, but I think it shows some quality. And the thing is, it's always important to taste yourself. That's what I really recommend to everyone. It's important to look at other people's notes and things like that, but really you have a different palate than everyone else. And so you really have to try it for yourself and try enough wines to actually kind of comment on whether something is young or not for your own personal taste. Fontodi is not that old a winery. It's only started since 1968. And the current winemaker or manager called Giovanni Manetti has been running the property since 1980. So Fontodi actually produces obviously a lot of different wines, Chianti versions of different wines, but this is kind of their flagship wine. So it's their whole winery is about 90 hectares. And originally, so this was first produced in 1981. And at that time, this wine, Flaccianello, is 100% Sangiovese. So at that time, the laws in Chianti did not allow for 100% Sangiovese to be done. So that was against the Chianti rules. And as such, this is not labeled as a Chianti wine. It is an IGT wine or a Super Tuscan. It's not in your traditional kind of viewpoint of Super Tuscans, which some people define as having to have some type of North American grapes like Cabernet or Merlot. But nevertheless, it started produced in 1981. At that time, again, we have to go back in history. It was very pioneering in terms of the industry, using 100% Sangiovese, when at that time, most people were using 30% white wine grapes. So it was really kind of groundbreaking. And, they originally only used grapes from a certain vineyard in Panzano. Since 2005, they've actually done a selection of their best Sangiovese grapes. It is aged in oak for 24 months. And now I think they age it even less. So up to 2005, they aged it for 24 months. In the bottle, it still says that it ages for 24 months. I think now they age it a little bit less, just a little bit softer touch in terms of the oak. And this is just to go with our modern taste buds. So I think in the past, people like things that are much, much oakier. Nowadays, I think we like a little bit more stylistically classic taste. So they've kind of cut back on the oak aging of this wine. And so I think it's down to around 18 months. So if you look at it in terms of the Chianti system, it would be considered a Chianti reserver. So that's why figures and our thought process is important, but not everything. And really drinking is the experience. Because if you were just thinking about this logically, you'd say, well, wait a minute, this is a Chianti Classico Reserva. Why is it priced this much? And how can it get 100 points from Robert Parker? Yeah, that's true in terms of your mindset, but that's not always true, right? You have to drink the wine, and that's where the proof is in the pudding. So I can tell you why I bought this wine originally. I actually didn't know about this wine very much. I actually knew about, heard about, of course, Sassicaia, Ornellaia, all these wines, but I actually never really heard about or focused on Flaccianello at all. Um, with the whole idea that, well, it's not really a super Tuscan. I don't see it as a as the like the Ornellayas, but it got 100 points, Robert Parker. So I went out and bought it, and actually, last year in liquor stores in BC, I think it was the 2015 vintage, which is still very highly rated, was reduced by like $40. So it was like $100, $115. It was crazy price, and so managed to buy the 15 and the 16. So and I haven't had it yet, so that's why I thought I would do this tasting. All right, so let's get to the tasting of this wine. So I've had this open for about an hour and a bit, maybe close to 2 hours now. I can tell you when it first opened, this is definitely not a pop and open wine. So it is heavy, tannic. You can tell it's got a lot of tannin structure, quality tannins, but it's pretty heavy. So it's not one wine that I can say that it's ready to drink, pop and open, even when you decant it. So hopefully it's calmed down a little bit. Now it's about 2 hours. The glass I've chosen is kind of my regular go-to glass in most of my viewings. It is kind of I use it like it's like a Bordeaux wine glass. I don't actually know where you buy it anymore. It's a Riedel glass, but it was quite old, and I like the whole idea that the stem is pretty nice. So this is kind of the shape for Chianti or Super Tuscan wines. So it's got a nice long bowl, and it can hold a lot of wine. So and it swirls pretty nicely. So let's smell the wine right now. On the smell, you can tell the quality. It's got a lot of dark fruit, dark berries, touch of oak, little tobacco. I'm sure it'll get better with time, but it is, it's very, you can tell the quality and the depth of things on this wine. Very balanced, very typical of an Italian, what people like in Italian wines. So on the taste, good acidity. I feel there's a little bit of iron in this, but of course, lots of fruit. On the aftertaste, a little bit of bittersweet chocolate, but I like the tannin. And we talk about this quite a bit about quality of tannins. So there's a difference in my mind between tannic wines and quality of tannins. So a wine can be very tannic, but it can have what you say rough tannins or lower quality tannins. There are certain wines out there, and that's I think what distinguishes high-end wines that are very tannic, but the quality of tannins is high in a way that it does not make it very unpleasing for you. So this wine is an example of that. This is a tannic wine. It has a lot of tannins, but it's not harsh. It's not like not drinkable. It is the quality is in the tannin. You can tell the texture in your mouth is not rough. And so what I would describe as rough or harsh tannins is those wine that are just, it dries up your mouth very quickly. And when I was a beginner wine drinker, I thought, oh, when wine just dries me up, I thought that was great. That's wow, tannic wine. But I did not distinguish that that is not quality tannins. And this is very important to understand that a wine can be very tannic, but it can also be very smooth. And this is what we call quality tannins. And that's what this has. This has quality tannins, but it's still high in high tannins. I just want to make another comment. You'll see in the videos a lot of times, it's like, Trophy, why are you like swirling and swishing and whatever? and why you're not editing it. It's kind of, we watch you like smell and then taste for like 10 seconds. Why don't you just edit it out? The reason I don't edit it out is that I want to actually make sure that people understand that that's the time that you need to smell and taste the wine. It's almost impossible, in my estimation, for a person to smell for 2 seconds, drink for 2 seconds, and come up with 15 notes. So I don't want to edit it because that is not, to me, truthful. When myself as a wine drinker, I smell it for like 10 seconds. I swirl it around my mouth for 10 seconds. That's the time that you need to process. And I know it can be boring to watch me swirl and swish and whatever, but that is realistic. And I want to make sure that people actually also understand that when you drink a wine, it's okay to take your time to smell it and to kind of taste it. You need to have that time. This is the decanter I actually use. This is Riedel. A lot of restaurants use this decanter. I love this decanter for a couple of reasons. One, it's really easy to handle. And then two, if you were actually trying to double decant, this is actually very easy to do with 2 decanters. I've tried it with those duck decanters. It's really tough to double decant. And sometimes at the end, you know how those that have a little dip at the end of that in the middle, they are sometimes hard to get the little last drops. Also, this is actually very easy to clean. So this is my kind of preferred decanter. And I saw a couple waiters and somms use this in restaurant. I thought this is really good. It's not that expensive. I think it's like $80 or $90. So here's my last little tasting note before I kind of sign off. So I'll continue to drink this over the next day or two. It's still pretty young, quite frankly. It's really good quality grapes, great winemaking. I think a lot of it has to do with the actual vineyard and the quality of the grapes. This is definitely a little bit better than Chianti Classicos that you would normally have. And I think the defining feature is that the balance is really good. A lot of times Chiantis can be overly alcoholic. You don't see this at all in this wine, and I think it's because the quality of tannins is so good on this wine. So Wine Spectator had this at 97 points. Robert Parker had this at 100 points. I don't think it's there right now today. I think you'll need a little time to get there. In my mind right now, I'm going to go 94 points. Again, it's not that this is not a good wine. It's not that this will not be a 95 and above wine in the future. But at this point, I'm tasting for today, it's at 94 points because it's really young. Still an excellent wine. So can you drink this today? You can. But I don't think it's at its peak. I think it'll get better. I think if you left it for another 10 years, I think that would start to reach its peak. And so, I think it's a great wine, and I'm really happy to do this. Thank you all for joining me today on this live stream. I really appreciate, again, all the support that people give me over, I guess, the 3 years that I've done this. So, and again, keep the comments coming. TK So has asked me, how long do you recommend decanting this wine? So I decanted this about 2 hours before this live stream. I don't think you can over decant this wine at this point. So you could go 8-10 hours, no problem. The longer, the better for this wine. It is pretty young. And again, I would probably go another 10 years before it gets to its prime. But if you are going to drink it right now, it's very pleasurable. Really good wine. I would decant as long as you can. And, 4 or 5 hours easily would be not too much on this wine. I've really enjoyed sharing this wine with my viewers and subscribers. So the price so I can only tell you the price in BC. I think it's way cheaper, in other places. In BC, it's close to about $200 a bottle. Now, again, as I said in the beginning of this video, there was a time when they put the 2015 Flaccianello on sale at BC liquor stores for like $115. So if you ever get a sale of Flaccianello, go and grab it. If it's off like by $30, yes, go and grab it. So about $200 Canadian. That's including taxes. If you net out the taxes, about 185. That's kind of where it should be at. And the other thing with Flaccianello is that with these high-end wines, like the first gross, don't worry too much about the vintage. So a lot of people get caught up in vintages and scores. Don't really worry. If it's Flaccianello and if it's on sale, I would grab it because this wine will only go up in value. The quality is as good as Tignanello for sure, and so it should be at least at that price point. Again, hope you've enjoyed this video, and until next time, happy drinking.